like a peroxide-suffused siren culling from the rocks of the Sonoran wasteland. Neocons, pseudocons, and sadly, all too many actual cons seem utterly unable to resist the great big motherfucking mirage of Kyrsten Sinema's so-called conservatism. You know, I've called attention to her true political record, pissants. I warned you assholes ahead of her sketchy-ass ascent to the Senate, and yet every other day it seems someone new on the right is seemingly simping for Sinema. From Cassandra Fairbanks to Cernovich, and even recently Jack Posobiec. Look, I have no issue with anybody above. Okay, maybe with Cernovich. Fuck that knuckle-dragging, thick-skulled, fence-sitting, sentient lisp in a two-sizes-too-small suit. Gorilla Mind isn't a brand, it's a diagnosis. Their argument? Well, she may not be Republican, but she is frustrating the political will of the Democratic Party. This in connection with her providing one of two so-called swing votes to preclude the passage of the trillion-dollar dog shit in the Let's Go Brandon budget bill. But is she shit dicks? Look, when Ocasio-Chavez ascended to the socialistic wing of the Democratic Party, did the Pelosi posse welcome her with open cankles, or did they quietly undermine her Marxist ass and ultimately get her to shit-can her own campaign advisor, resulting in a slow decline in the squad's fortunes for the last 15 fucking months or so? My point is, the DNC demand lockstep, but they also have a habit of undermining their most extreme elements before they become a major issue, and they also use motherfuckers like Manchin and pseudo-moderates like Sinema to save the party from it fucking self. Unless you're in Arizona, you're likely unaware that Kyrsten Sinema and our other suspiciously elected Democratic Senator, Chairman Mark Kelly, are lobbing dueling attack ads at each other at present. And the methodology is simple, stupid. Chairman Mark was elected primarily by Democrats, while Sinema was sent to the Senate on the strength of RINOs and suburban wine moms who say 70 Hail McCains before their perm hits the pillow at night. Sinema doesn't need to play to the pinkos in the National Democratic Party. She needs to sell herself to the red state she was suspiciously elected in. By hitting Mark Kelly over his Chinese ties and leftist indulgence, she protects her own illusion of moderation. Likewise, Shy-Com Kelly protects his own more loyal Democratic base by appearing to censure his senatorial colleague without actually offering serious resistance of any description. But here's the kicker, you cunts. Where this message is concerned, you are the fucking megaphone! Every time you titwanks regurgitate the fucking fiction that Sinema is defying your own party because of obviously orchestrated bathroom bullshit and confrontations with commies on a fucking plane, you retards make manifest that fiction. I am done with you dipshits. Look, if they wanted Sinema to go Splitsville, she'd be goddamn gone by now. They threatened to primary her, even forming the so-called primary Sinema pack and fronting Ruben Gallego as a candidate. And yet in over a year, they've also failed to formally name a solitary fucking primary candidate for her. And ain't it amazing how at the State of the Union, the camera, having ignored Kyrsten Sinema for the duration, after all, she's a first-term pissant, it just happened to catch her standing to clap for something Trump said right in time for a Democratic colleague to briefly look at the camera and then mouth the words, "Watch your ass." Coinky of a goddamn dink indeed. I've seen less choreography at a knife fight between the Jets and the fucking Sharks. Stop falling for it, you fucking retards. And if I have to hear one more asshole call this fucking Office 6 attractive, I will open fire. Bro, the broad is fat. Sure, she slurps down the diet pills every 6 years to prop up her political chances, but if you peep this slag outside of election season, she leaves home in high heels and comes back in flip-flops. The bitch's belly button has an echo. Even for Republicans, simping for pseudo-moderate sea mammals is a new and exciting low. How pseudo-moderate, you inquire? Let me count the fucking ways. Breitbart are chowing down to this bitch's balloon knot because she stands up to illegal immigration. Hell, even Hannity's website is saying she's being harassed by DACA recipients on a commercial airline flight. Yeah, asshole, about that. Kyrsten Sinema didn't just pop on the scene last fucking week, although the media would very much like you to think so. Although most of her physique certainly fucking did pop up on the scene last week. Look, she's been a representative since the early 20-teens and an anarcho-commie activist since long the fuck before that. Point being, it's easy enough to have a gander at her goddamn voting record, so why the fuck are we all avoiding it?
Because if you're laying down on the job, then your state could turn into Arizona pretty quickly. And so I ran for the state house and state senate in Arizona, right?
My state, Arizona, is clearly the meth lab of democracy.
I'll tell you exactly why, Ass Canyon. Back in 2005, Sean Hannity was one of the few journalists regularly covering the passage of the Protect Arizona Now initiative, which passed by a large margin 1 year previous. The law denied any and all government services to illegals until such time as our laws were actually enforced. As part of said report, he planted his ass at the Arizona border, just beside the border crossing sign, might I add, and asserted the urgency of this problem. Kirsten Sinema, who had only recently abandoned the Green Party to be elected a state representative as a Democrat, claimed the Border Patrol were engaging in a double standard by apprehending poor, put-upon Mexican coyotes who were just minding their own business and trafficking underage children, and in a true flourish of fucking moderation, she called for Hannity's fucking arrest. She was, needless to say, laughed out of the state house for the assertion. Not to be denied, she then called in to Hannity's national radio show, whereupon, having concealed this information for a week and allowed her to butt-fucking bury herself in public for the duration, he revealed that he'd been told by the Border Patrol themselves that the precise spot where he was standing during that news report fell within a legally permissible 3-foot interval, and that only past that point would he have been guilty of transgressing the southern border. Sinema shit her fuck me pumps, hemming, hawing, equivocating like Jimmy Stewart in a paint shaker, and generally fumble fucking about in a fruitless effort to convey a coherent thought. Hannity repeatedly requested an apology, and after Sinema refused several fucking times, she hung up on the dude in what remains among the most cringy episodes in Arizona political history. If anyone has that clip, by the way, I suspect someone has every episode of that show archived somewhere. I will upload it here instantly. As it stands, I can find only transcripts of the outburst, but good goddamn, did they sound glorious. Just a scant few years earlier in 2002, Cry Cry was named as a signatory for the Cinco de Mayo Cum Cami May Day festivities in the People's Weekly World, then is now the organ of record for the Communist Party USA. Lest you believe that's an aberration, she was a signatory in 2003 as well for the very same May Day advertisement. What a portrait of nonpartisanism! Solidifying her status as Little Miss Moderate on immigration, she likewise sponsored HB 2286 as recently as 2007, a bill that not only made use of a firearm to defend your own home, a fucking crime, but prescribed mandatory jail sentences for anyone who joined the Minutemen at the border. They were, if you recall, a civilian organization that patrolled the Arizona border and just reported illegal crossings to the Border Patrol. Begin to get why this DACA shit is fucking shadow theater. Bro, if you consider the bitch that founded the Arizona State House Progressive Caucus in 2008 the most conservative Arizona senator in years, I really don't know what the fuck to tell you other than blow me. Hell, look into her record in the National House of Representatives, where her voting record was among the most liberal in the country, and she successfully stumped for a spot on the planning committee for fucking Obamacare, the law that famously spiked Arizona insurance premiums 118%, the highest rate in the country, and left us with only 2 healthcare providers in the entire ass fucking state. Oh, but she's blocking the budget because she cares about cost, you drooling fucking dolts. Old penny pincher Sinema trying to save us all money by saddling us with $1 trillion dog fuck known as fucking Obamacare. The only remotely logical rejoinder to which is, well, better to have someone ambitious enough to be minding their P's and Q's than a comfortable RINO Republican in business for himself, to which I can only roll my eyes clean into the back of my fucking skull and scream, what's the fucking difference? Voting for whatever's politically expedient, only to then spin and sell it as being a maverick, is why we hated the living shit out of John McCain, such that he died with an approval rating under fucking 40. Hell, even comparing her voting record to Jimmy Arms McCain, it's abundantly clear we'd be better off with his goddamn ghost than with the hydroxy cunt Kirsten Sinema. Hey, remember our buddy Kermit Gosnell, whose abortion clinic cum House of Horrors was quietly quietly permitted due to abortion lobbyists and their political mouthpieces in the Democratic Party, being afraid he'd hurt the entire enterprise of baby killing? Yeah, remember them finding bloody floors, dirty instruments, jars full of baby body parts, and stories of full-term infants expiring on a fucking countertop because he botched the abortion and the baby somehow survived the procedure? So they lay there for hour upon agonizing hour, slowly suffocating on their own sputum? Yeah, well, the bill to ban abortion doctors from being able to do all that shit was the first fucking thing Sinema voted against in the Senate. Moderate in fucking deed. Worse still, some people hated Martha McSally so much, they made it out like Sinema was more conservative, which if their voting records are any indication, is only true on opposite day. Few people fucking know this, but Kyrsten Sinema started out on the stage, presumably sea harboring the ambition to alight American movie screens one day. Presumably the fact that she subsists on sea kelp and plankton sidelined those plans, and so she shifted to a different kind of performance art. Pinko politics. At first an ardent commie, then Green Party, but I repeat myself, and finally one of the more leftist voices in both the state and national House of Representatives. Folks, the simple fact is, she's still fucking acting. For anyone who knows her actual voting record, the act is getting old. This ain't an organic transition of moderation. For fuck's sake, it happened in all of 2 titty fucking years. She went from blaming hot takes for global warming to being Tulsi Gabbard with shittier carb control. I'm saying this one time for the fucking record. Anyone, right, left, or center, that simps for this skankosaurus, especially on the fucking right, should be shit-hammered with extreme prejudice, and I, for one, fucking intend to. You want an e-girl in Congress? Maybe stick to beating your balls black and blue to some strumpet streaming on Twitch, so the adults can hopefully elect a principled, fully formed human being for fucking once. Because Kyrsten Sinema never saw a principle she didn't try to fuck for a better grade. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
Are you a liberal progressive?
I am the most liberal legislator in the entire state of Arizona.